Welcome to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maja, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. I hope you guys are doing good. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you enjoyed last week's show. I really enjoyed having our conversation with our guests last week. It was some great information. If you missed it, you can always listen to the past shows on iHeartRadio or Apple iTunes. That's a great feature. And you can also kind of take notes, because for me, I know I had to take a lot of notes about that information that was going forth. It was really something that really shifted my energies into different ways of thinking things. And I hope it can do the same for you. So let's see, what is going on with me? I am getting ready to hang out with my family. We're going to a wedding, which is really cool. It's my family, and it's always good to hang out with family. And I just enjoy that. And so for tonight's show, I kind of definitely want to talk to you about a concept. And I need you to kind of be open to it. And I'm going to kind of walk through it slow. So if you hear some pauses, it's just me trying to get a download, so to speak. So the question for tonight is a setback truly a setback? Or could it be an opportunity to propel you to new heights? That's what we're going to talk about tonight. But first, we need to define what is setback. For me, I define it as a reversal in progress or a process or goal that I'm trying to achieve. So anything that kind of pulls me back a little bit. It's an upset, a problem, misfortune, disappointment, a challenge. So once again, let's pose that question and kind of reframe it a little bit. So is a setback truly a misfortune, a problem, a challenge? Or could it be an opportunity to propel you to new heights? If you've ever been snapped, or others call it shot with a rubber band, then you know it hurts. It's uncomfortable. It also has energy, enough energy to smack you in the arm and cause a sting. Remember, we've talked about this concept of energy before. Quantum physics is showing us that everything in the universe is energy. Science has shown us that everything is made up of energy. Do you guys get that? It's the building block of all matter. The same energy that composes your body is the same one that compose the bricks of your house that you live in, your car, your phone, animals, trees, and so forth. It's all the same. It's constantly flowing and changing form all the time. This is a universal law called perpetual transformation of energy. It's a long concept, and if you study like all the universal laws, you probably understand this more. But the base thing to understand is that energy is everywhere. It can neither be created nor destroyed. Everything in this universe is made up of the same stuff. It's just presented in different forms and shapes. There's a place where all things begin, right? I'll say that, whether we're talking about religion, spirituality, or even just science. A location of pure energy that simply is. Energy is the force that can cause objects to move. Even a chair has electrons moving. So it may appear as a solid, stagnant mass, but it's not stagnant. It's moving. Slower than we can see it, of course. Energy is stored in pieces of wood. It's released, the energy is released when the piece of wood is burnt, right? Sunlight, electromagnet pulses, sound waves, radio waves, and all these different types of energies. And most of these can be seen by the human eye, while others, they are measured or they have to use some technology to get you to see it. So back to this rubber band and snapping us. The relationship between a rubber band at rest is energy stored. The energy it holds is released when it's stretched, and the distance the rubber band will propel in the air is the amount of energy it has. I want you to kind of think about that, see it, visualize that rubber band being pulled back, and as it's released, that's the energy force. I really want to help you change your perspective about challenges, setbacks, problems, situations that you view as being negative. I want you to think of what you view as a setback as a resting rubber band full of energy and potential. Now, I know some of you may be thinking, as you're listening to me go over this concept, you're thinking, how can I do that? I just lost my job. I'm going through a divorce. I'm sick. Or, all these other types of situations that we're going through. My car just got repossessed, on and on and on. These are all the stories, these negative stories, these situations that we view and that we're experiencing as negative. And I'm not telling you that they're not negative. I'm just asking you for this time to view it as a rubber band, a resting rubber band. All of us have stories and situations that we view negative, but it has so much more potential for you if you can view it as energy being stored in the situation. My question is, are you willing to stretch yourself to analyze this setback, this challenge, this problem, this situation that is viewed bad, negative, to use it to propel you to go forward? Are you willing to ask and do the work to release the energy that this setback has to offer? I know these are like questions that maybe some of you are having a hard time to even conceptualize, like how the fact that me going through a divorce or my car being repossessed can be actually something full of energy to propel me forward to a new situation. But it can, if you're willing to think about the view in a different way. Viewing this situation as an opportunity. First, it starts with changing your perspective of the situation. I'm not telling you that it doesn't exist. I'm just saying, let's just invite a new perspective to it. We're going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more about this. You're listening to Attracting Your Life, and I'm your host, Maisha. Welcome back to Attracting Your Life, and I'm your host, Maisha. And we are coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before the break, we started to just talk about how to view things a little bit differently, your challenge, your perspective. And first, it starts with changing your perspective of the situation. It's not negative or positive, because really, to be honest, negative and positive doesn't really exist. I know it sounds weird, but it really doesn't. It's actually a concept in your mind that you have created based on your subconscious views about things. This polarity is an emotion attachment to the situation. It's your interpretation of the situation that has labeled the event as good, which is pleasant to you, or bad, disagreeable to you. You have such a connection to your personal view of good and bad that this is how you derive your sense of self. This is your identity, your mindset, your truth. So my truth is going to be different from your truth based on just the experiences that we've went through. That's neither good or bad. It just is. It's our ego. That's what our ego is all about. It is inseparable from yourself. You can't really, it's your identity. We all have this, this ego. It's your identification with your mindset. And I'm not judging it. It's whatever it is. Our mindset is based on our conditioning, which is a combination of our upbringing, our environment, our opinions that have been passed on from friends, family, society, so to speak. And all of this is stored in your subconscious mind. So I've shared with you before that I grew up in a household from parents who were immigrants from a third world country, right? So one of the mindsets or things that I viewed in my subconscious mind was that I had to eat everything off my plate because you don't know when your next meal is going to come. Well, that wasn't the case for us, my brothers and sisters here in the United States. We knew where our next meal was going to come. We knew what time it was going to come. We knew we could open the refrigerator and find food. But because of how my parents were raised and because of how they passed that mindset to us, that we had a tendency of the plate was huge and food was full and you had to eat everything on your plate, or it was like a disrespect to your mom or disrespect to just the fact because you don't know when the next meal. And so later on, fast forward in my 20s and 30s, I'm wondering why I'm having a hard time losing weight. And it's because I still had that mindset in my subconscious mind that I have to eat everything on my plate. Like, no matter if I'm full or not, I got to eat everything on my plate. And so it's the mindset that whether you're trying to create a goal or trying to shift yourself into a new environment for yourself, so to speak, or view an aspect or a situation from negative to positive with the opportunity of propelling you forward, you really have to identify some of the mindsets that are in your subconscious mind that could be a hindrance or an obstacle. Once again, I'm not putting a label on it, whether it's good or bad. It's just to identify it and to observe it. Be that observer about it. And if you view as if it doesn't serve you anymore, it's okay to let it go. And it's through the process of letting things go that no longer serves you that you find yourself open to new opportunities, new aspects of thinking things in a different manner. Everything that's stored in your subconscious mind, it's really not you. It's not your soul. It's not your essence. When we allow ourselves to derive our identity from our personal history, the stories of the interpretations of experiences that have occurred in our life, our opinions, our memories, which are all stored in the subconscious mind, it limits oneself. It limits us to really understand who we are and what we are. Now, to be honest, a majority of the humanity sees and derives their identity in the manner of what I spoke of, which is through your personal history, through stories of interpretations of experiences that have occurred in their life, through their opinions, memories, all stored in your subconscious mind. And there's nothing wrong with it. Majority of us do it. And we're all experiencing our own personal evolution. All of us, we all have our own journey of our own personal evolution. There's not one that's slower than the other or one that is better than the other. It's just our own personal evolution. Even now, at this moment, there are some of you who are listening to this broadcast can't understand what I'm talking about. That's okay. It's part of everyone's personal evolution. Some of this is not going to resonate with you. It's okay. You have your own perfect evolution that's happening in your consciousness. But there are some of you, this information is vibrating and igniting in you. This conversation is a higher state of consciousness. This conversation is not really for the masses. Most of us are not ready to understand or willing to understand how they can shift and change things in their reality. We're going to go to a commercial break. You're listening to Attracting Your Life, and I'm your host, Maija. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Attracting Your Life, and I'm your host, Maija, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before the break, I was trying to identify that some people may not get some of the concepts that we're going to talk about in this show, which is perfectly fine. But there are some of you, this information is vibrating, igniting, and you are becoming or have been awakened to the fact that you are one with God's source energy. You are consciousness connected to all and in all. You're aware of this. You have an awareness of openness. So to you who's experiencing this setback, challenge, problem, be open in the awareness that life will give you whatever you need for the evolution of your consciousness. Let me say that one more time because it's a hard pill to swallow. I know. Life will give you whatever you need for the evolution of your personal consciousness, your personal evolution. Yeah, I know. It's hard, right? You're like a beacon of light calling to the universe. You're attracting the situations and the events that your soul desires for your evolution of your personal consciousness growth. All of us is doing this. It's just some of us are aware of it and some of us choose not to be aware of it or can't even understand the concept yet. Yes, I know. This is a hard pill to swallow, but it's true. So how do you know that this is the experience that you need? Because it's the experience that you're having at this moment. So, once again, the question for tonight, is the setback truly a misfortune, a disappointment, a problem, an obstacle? I say no. It's an experience that you need for your own personal consciousness evolution. The question is, what will you do with it? Will you sulk and have a pity party and play the victim role? It's so easy to do that. Really, it's easy to play the victim role. It's easy for us to blame everybody else. You know, it's so-and-so's fault. It's this person's fault. It's that group of people's fault. It's that culture's fault. Or will you beat yourself up and feel shame and guilt? Oh, I should have done this. Oh, if I only had listened to so-and-so. Oh, the shame. I'm so ashamed. That is also very easy to do. Will you get mad and find someone on the outside of yourself to blame? Use them as a scapegoat because it's easier to deflect it onto somebody else. It's Susie's fault that I didn't get the promotion. You know she's a backstabber. Da 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 da. You can go on and on with the story. It's that chick from across the street who made my husband have an affair on me. We can go on and on with all these negative views of the situation. And there's nothing wrong if that's the choice, if that's the route, if that's the journey that you choose to. Or will you take the opportunity, this setback, this challenge, a situation, the problem, whatever you would like to call it, as an opportunity to propel you to new heights? I challenge you. Stretch yourself as a rubber band. Make that shift into a higher consciousness. Stop living in opposition to what is the present moment. The present moment is offering you something. Allow this challenge, experience to propel you to new heights. Now, there's some of you right now who are screaming and saying that is just impossible. You know, I've done all the work that I can do. It's because, you know, there's no good men around. That's why I'm not in a relationship. Or I'm in this divorce because he chose to step out of this marriage. Da, da, da. You know, I get it. Believe me, I get it. I understand. I've been there. I've walked in your shoes in some experiences, in some situations. Some I haven't, because it wasn't part of my consciousness journey. Each of us have our own conscious journey that we're going through for our own personal evolution. And some of us will find people to walk down that journey together. Some of us is going to find people who can kind of lead us through that way. And that's all I'm doing right now. Without really talking about each of your situations individually, I'm telling you that this concept, this rubber band theory, all of us can use it in whatever situation, whatever journey, whatever experience that part of your personal growth that you can use to propel as a rubber band. But it's all about perspective, about changing the perspective. And there's certain parts of your mindsets that holding you into the belief of the scapegoat or the victim role or the whatever your story may be. I know it's a hard pill for people to say or to understand that I'm in this situation because I chose to be in this situation. Oh, God, you can't tell me that I'm in an abusive marriage because I chose that. Oh, no. And if some of you know my story, you know that was where I was at. But I want to challenge you to think of it differently. We're going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to pick up this understanding. You're listening to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maisha. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. This is Attracting Your Life, and I'm your host, Maisha. And if you're still staying tuned to or listening to this, this is for you. This is a show about a higher consciousness and a higher level of understanding of who you are. We're talking about challenges, about stretching yourself as a rubber band and viewing your setback as an opportunity. So to make this shift into this higher consciousness, stop living in this opposition to what is in the present moment. Allow this setback, this challenge, this experience to propel you to new heights. You need to make the shift. And so how do we do that? One, you need to accept this moment as if you chose it for yourself. I'm not going to go as far and say you attracted to yourself, because that may be just too much to handle and make this rubber band theory hard for you to even go through. But just, you know what? Just accept as it comes. Accept the moment as if you chose it. It is what it is, right? It's here. It's in the situation. I'm in this terrible marriage. I accept it. Now I got to get out, right? But as you are accepting it, realizing that this is an opportunity of seeing yourself at the present moment of how you were sending out beacons of vibration energy to the universe of this is the situation I need and want to change in my life. You know, I'm part of that new age thinking with law of attraction. And when I found myself in a bad situation, a bad marriage, I had to go through the process, which was really difficult for me to say and to understand and to accept that I had attracted an abusive person, marriage. And I had to go through what was in my subconscious mind, what was in my mindset of lowly thinking about myself, not deserving someone good, great, and loving, that allowed me to be in the situation that I was in that I didn't like. But it's about waking up and realizing, okay, I accept that this moment is something I chose for myself and I can use it. And how do I move it to propel myself going forward? Step two of this process is don't deny the moment. Resisting the moment makes you more depressed, unhappy. It's not the situation that caused the unhappiness. It's not that you lost your job that makes you unhappy. It's your mind's view that has labeled the situation into a disagreeable manner. I'm telling you, there's some people out there, if they lost a job, they would be happy. They'll be like, hey, it's time to party. But that's their view. It's their perspective. Everybody has a different perspective, and that has to do with what's in their subconscious mind, how they were raised, their community, their environment. The mind is interpreting every situation in a certain way that produces either happiness, a happy feeling, or sad and unhappy feelings. The ego comes up with stories, and they're telling us these stories all the time. And most often, they're not great stories. The mind is telling you, you should have it in one specific way. You should have it this way. You should have it your way. And when it doesn't come out your way or this way, then it's labeled as bad. What if the situation that occurred is actually good to help you propel yourself forward? So step 3 is watching what your mind is doing. Become an observer of the interpretation that the mind is giving and labeling the experience. This will help you to really understand what is truth. You've heard it before. Everybody says that there's several sides to every story, right? There's her side, there's your side, and then there's the truth, right? But the reason why there's so many different sides to a story is because everybody has an ego. Everyone has an attachment. Everyone is interpreting it in their own way, in their own glass fills, whether they're rose-filled glasses, whether they're dark sunglasses. Everybody's seeing the situation in their own view, and it's all based on what is housed, what is stored in your subconscious mind. So 2 women, both going through a divorce. One is ready to hire a party bus after the divorce. Once the papers are signed, stamped, and sealed by the county, they're ready to have a party bus waiting for them right outside, and they go about to party, while the other one is ready to find a rope to go hang herself. It's all about perspective, but it's all about what's housed in your subconscious mind and how you interpret it. 2 people having a conversation and both hear different things. It's because of the interpretation of words, the expression of the words, that the other person is interpreting their expressions. Or another thing, I love this, emails, right? Emails have no tone. You can't hear anything in an email, right? I'll have somebody come back and say, you were yelling at me in this email. I didn't like your tone. My tone? What are you talking about? I didn't talk to you. I sent you an email. It's their interpretation. It's that little voice that they have of how Maja would say it in their head and that they read it that way. Be mindful of your mind. You're listening to Attracting Your Life. I'm your host, Maja, and we're going to go to a commercial break. Stay tuned for more. Welcome back to Attracting Your Life, and I'm your host, Maja, and we're coming to you live from BBM Global Network and TuneIn Radio. And before the break, we were just kind of talking about the mindsets and how our mind can basically play tricks on us. I'm giggling because that's a rap song. My mind's playing tricks on me. Anyway, I'm dating myself. But step 3 is to watch your mind. Be mindful. Have mindfulness. And this is a concept like even in some Hindu culture, they talk about the monkey brain. Stop the chatter of the monkey brain. Stop the chatter of what it's constantly telling you that is basically negative. I guess you could think of mindfulness as a wise and being affection to the attention that the mind is projecting to you. If you can really separate your thoughts of the situation to the present moment, then you'll realize that labeling it negative doesn't really serve you. And a way of doing that is through meditation and being open to the awareness of being one with that person who is basically making your job a living hell, right? Understanding that that person and you are one, connected to God's source energy, right? I view it as God's source energy being a tree, the tree trunk. And this is an exercise for me that I have to do quite often too in different situations. And people who are filled with low vibration are further away from the tree trunk. Those are the thin branches and leaves that are withering. They're really far from the tree trunk because obviously through their actions and through the way they perceive things, they can't possibly have God's love flowing through them, right? Oh my gosh, yes, that was a very big opinion and judgment. But it's understanding that we are all one, right? Wherever we fall on the tree and the branches, whether we're really close to the trunk or whether we're really far out, we are all connected. And through meditating in the state of a oneness, awareness that all of us are part of the superconscious mind, brings peace. If you find yourself depressed, you're really living in the past. You're constantly reliving situations that had already occurred. If you're anxious, you're living in the future. If you have peace, you're living in the present. That's a quote from the Tao. And it's really understanding how to have peace at each present moment. Have no worries for tomorrow will take care of itself. Look at the birds in the air. They neither worry where their food and meal is going to come. Yes, I'm quoting the Bible. These are the things that even Jesus was talking about, right? This is nothing new age. It's about being in the present moment and not fighting the situation, not resisting the moment, because resisting makes depression and unhappiness. Be happy in the moment. Accept the moment. Find joy of how this moment can propel you forward. A person who lost their job and they had the opportunity to stay at home for the summer with their kids. Maybe it was a little bit different, but now they were able to see you at home. That was a wonderful, propelling situation, right? Find joy in each moment. Stop labeling every situation that may be uncomfortable as a negative. Because really, it's through your challenge. It's through the challenge. It's through the uncomfortable situations that you really know what you're made of. Maybe you have to pull yourself away from your friends, maybe even your family, who are part of the monkey brain chatter that's not allowing you to see the truth. That this situation, this so-called obstacle that everybody's calling, is really just an opportunity to propel you forward further than you've ever even imagined. The question is, are you going to answer that challenge? Opportunities knocking at the door. Are you going to answer? Be happy in the moment. That's enough. Each moment is all we need, not more. Through your time of meditation, you will find yourself being exposed to outlets and answers and ways to shift the present moment that is uncomfortable to something that can propel you forward. You lost your job, all of a sudden, I will never forget this for me. I lost a job and I was just sitting there. And I was like, oh my God, it was my early 20s. And all of a sudden I saw a commercial for Dean Witter. And I was like, let me apply there. What do I have to lose, right? But it was through that quietness of just sitting and just accepting. I was literally just sitting on my couch, just sitting there, not being depressed, not really being happy, but just being consciously aware of my present moment. And the commercial came through and the commercial resonated with me. It like ignited something in me for me to just say, let me go apply there. So I looked up for the closest Morgan Stanley Dean Witter at the time, and I applied. I shared with you guys that I had a fire, so I've been going through a lot of my old stuff. I found that resume that I applied for Dean Witter. I have no idea how I got that job. That resume was hideous. There was misspellings. There was just it was all over the place. To be honest, I have no idea how they hired me. But I got that job. I started off as a sales assistant, got my Series 7, 63, 53, 53, 653. I went on and on to the point I became a manager, operations manager, and compliance. You never know, but it's being quiet in that still moment. We're going to go to a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to kind of close this concept up. You're listening to Attracting Your Life, and I'm your host, Maisha. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. This is Attracting Your Life, and you're listening to this broadcast about a higher consciousness and a different awareness of situations that we view as being negative or challenging. And I just want to challenge you to view it differently. I want you to understand that accepting the moment as if you chose it is the first step. Don't deny the moment. Resisting the moment makes it just more difficult and end up making you depressed and unhappy. And the third step is watching your mind. Watching how that monkey brain, that chatter in your head of the interpretations of experiences, how it gives you certain feelings about the experience. Remember, there's really no such thing as good or bad. It's your interpretation. And we all have our own mindset and interpretation based on things that resonate in our subconscious mind. So it's not a good or bad thing. It's not that you are not ready. I'm just saying for us to think about it in a different manner. And it's through the thinking about it in a different manner that we find ourselves with the ability to stretch ourselves to a higher or stretching ourselves to a way that we can propel ourselves moving forward. Using the energy that we all have, that we're all connected to using the situation to get us to a different place in life. As I said earlier, quantum physicists say that energy is in everything. Energy is even in the situation that you're in right now. I challenge you to use the situation to propel you forward to a different arena in life. I never said that it would be easy. The situation that is viewed as a setback that's in your life, remember that it's really the universe bringing it to you for you to shift your consciousness. It's part of your evolution, your personal evolution of growth. Opportunities knocking. My question is, are you going to open the door? Are you going to shift your mindset? Are you going to do the work? Are you going to accept that this moment is if you chose it? And if you don't want to, it's okay. Believe me, and I've said this before, half of humanity, majority of humanity is not ready for this. But if you feel the nudge, if you listen to this broadcast completely, it's your time. It's not easy. And it helps if you are working with a coach, and you guys know I'm a coach. I talk about this all the time. Call me, email me. I have no problem with working with you, and we have different type of packages and how we can work those things out. Read a book, listen to different meditations, just do something different. Stop having this pity party. Albert Einstein, I guess, is quoted as saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. I'm just asking you to change. Take that challenge. I really appreciate you listening to this broadcast. I hope you have a great week. And remember, you are the master of your own universe. This is Maija, and you're listening to Attracting Your Life. Take care. Oh, we had 30 seconds? Oh my God, you guys. Okay, I guess I was just so into this conversation, but like I said, take the challenge. We talk every week about different concepts of how to help you to elevate your life, and I hope you're listening to this. If you miss it, you can always go to iHeartRadio and listen to past broadcasts. But it's about you making the change for yourself. Nobody can do it for you. You can work with a coach all day long, you can read the books, but if you're not willing to do the work, if you're not willing to do the digging, it won't happen. So have a great week. And we'll talk next week. You're listening to Attracting Your Life Radio, and I'm Maija.